Imagine a whiskey so thick and flavorful it clings to the glass like syrup, a style nearly lost in time, until one distiller brought back a 19th century monster, the three-chambered still. Today on the Whiskey Shaman podcast, we are diving into the resurrection of the beast that once defined American rye. All right, guys, we're doing it. I'm sorry, it is raining like a mug outside right now. Okay, raining like a mug. But I will tell you this: before we even get started on any of the other things, hopefully you can hear me well. I know it is picking up a little bit of the rain, but it's raining pretty hard. I talked about this on one of my videos that I released on YouTube, or will be releasing on YouTube. I actually live in Central Texas, and there is major flooding going on, or there still is maybe, around my area, probably about 40 miles away from me. Huge loss of life, huge casualties, a lot of people without homes, a lot of people, families split apart, RV parks totally gone. It affected a huge area that has a lot of summer camps that were cram-packed full of kids that so far, as far as the things I've found recently, 37 pronounced dead. Some of these children as young as 8. So, you know what? Let's do this. I don't know how to do it, so I'm just going to do it. If you want to, if you don't want to, fast forward a little bit, but I'm going to pray real fast for us for this situation. So, Lord, I just ask that you be with all the men and women out there risking their lives, all the first responders, all the people that are in this area right now that are helping try and find people and help rescue. It's a hard job, and putting your life on the line for someone else is you have to be very brave in doing that. But I also just pray for all the families that have been torn apart, all of the people that have lost lives, all the families that are going to be grieving this for weeks and months to come. I know of people who have had children in there and stuff like that, so it does hit personally. And please open our eyes and our hearts to these people and help them in any way that we can. We thank you so much for the abundance that you give us, and we know that it is all your plan, even though in times like this it seems like this is not your will. But we know that everything through you, we just hope that some way we can shine a light on this to your glory, and we will. And I thank you so much for the ability to come to you with prayer and to lift up all these people towards you. And I know that there's a lot of people out there doing it right now, and I just appreciate all the hands that are helping and trying out there. And Lord, it's a horrible thing that's happening, and if it be your will, I ask you to put the hope in people that don't have hope right now, and then put strength in the ones that are weary. I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, I'll put a transition right here so y'all can, if you want to fast forward. Whatever, if I get dinged, demonetized, not that I'm monetized, but if I get dinged for this, I don't care. It's my show, and people are in need, and when you can't help physically, mentally, you have to help spiritually. So that's something I'm going to do, and just be prepared. There's going to be a lot more of it. So, okay. We got that over. So one of the things, well, the topic of the day is we are going to talk about 3-chamber stills. Yes, we have talked about different types of stills in the past, but now we're going to talk about 3-chamber stills. It's a very unique style. It's a very different way of doing it. I have a bunch of notes here that I'm going to go over. And then we'll just kind of chit chat about 3-chamber stills. But I got a special treat, not so much for you, although stick around because it could be for you. I have none other than Leopold Brothers 3-chamber still rye whiskey. Now, full transparency, this is a 200 milliliter sample bottle, the hip flask, they say. This was not given to me by Leopold Brothers. I actually purchased this, and I'm going to tell you, full transparency, that this could be the most expensive bottle I have ever purchased. And I'll tell you why. Because it's a 200 ml sample. So you think about it, 2, 4, 6, so it'd be 3.5 of these would go in a bottle, right? So let me do the math real fast, and we'll see how expensive it is. So a full-size bottle of this 3-chamber still rye whiskey would run right at $300. I got this. I actually bought this probably 2 years ago. I'm trying to see if it says this is batch 47. It's aged 6 years. It is 80% Abruzzi rye and 20% Leopold Brothers floor malted malt. Fermentation days 168 hours. Distilled in Colorado. Fermented, aged, bottled and bond by Leopold Brothers, Denver, Colorado, DSP CO 15014. So this is a bottled and bond product, 80/20. So I don't want to crack this open, but guess what? And it is a twist top. Yes. There we go. It is worth nothing as of right now. So I'm going to pour a fairly good sample for me because I'm going to enjoy this for the rest of the time that we are here, and stick around for a chance for you, the listener, or the viewer, if you're not viewing because you're not on a Patreon. So I am actually going to give away a sample of this for the patrons as well. I will do a giveaway. So hold me to it, guys. I will do a giveaway where somebody will win a 2-ounce sample, because I don't have very much in here. Will win a 2-ounce sample of this 3-chamber still rye whiskey. So let's talk a little bit about Leopold Brothers. I've been trying to get them on the podcast for a number of years. They were one of the ones I wanted to get on the podcast from the beginning. Just because they're doing really, really cool stuff. I actually have a quote that I wrote down. Where is it? Oh, Lord. I can't find it, of course. Crap. I don't have it. Oh. Okay, most of the whiskeys we drink today is a shadow of what it once was. Back in the 1800s, distillers weren't focused on speed or yield. They were chasing flavor. The 3-chamber still wasn't built for efficiency. It was built to make whiskey rich and oily and unforgettable. That's the kind of whiskey we're bringing back. Super, super cool. So let's get into it. Let's do a couple little tasting notes on it, and then we'll talk about what the heck is a 3-chamber still. All right, so the color on this, it's not super dark, but it's dark for a 6-year-old product, right? That's a fairly decent pour. So, okay, the nose. Wow. It is clinging to the glass. I don't know if you can see that in the Patreon, but there is just a line. Now it's just now starting to drip down. Yeah, that's my Doc Martinez old-fashioned waste glass. Probably should have got a different glass so that you could actually see it a little better, but you know, it is what it is. It is raining in the shed. It is currently 78 degrees in here, so not horrible. I do have the cooler on, but it has slowed down raining, so hopefully it's not that bad outside. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, let's get in on the nose. So the rye on this, a Bruisey rye is really flavorful. I have a Still Austin that uses a Bruisey rye, and I've had Devil's River. They use a Bruisey rye as well, and it gives like a chocolatey, how do you say it? Like a chocolate cocoa powder type nose, and I'm getting that, but it's also very grainy, like rye bread, rye. Like just the bag. Like if you were to get just the rye grain and smell it, it smells a lot like that. It's not really sweet. It's almost a little pungent, not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's almost a little pungent though. Like the rye is really up front and hitting you in the nose, which I enjoy. So I'm going to go in for my first sip. Sorry, I had to adjust my mic down just a little bit. I had turned it up because the rain was so loud. So I just don't want to get a bunch of feedback and stuff like that. Okay, so on the taste, it is very unique. It is so oily. It is coating my mouth. So unique, so different. It's unlike any rye whiskey I've ever had, in a good way. And once we get into the description of Three Chamber, you will understand why. The finish lingers for a long time. It's not really rye spicy. It's more rye grainy. It does have like maybe a little tinge of mint, not like peppermint or anything like that. It's just a little bit there, but it's almost like wicker. Has some wicker to it. Walking into a Pier 1 Imports Papa San chair type flavors. I'm trying to see if there's anything on the long finish. It has sweetness to it as well. It's 100 proof, obviously, being bottled and bond. Wow. It's interesting. I might have one more little sip just to kind of see if I can find anything else. Man, it's almost chewy. It really is. Man, it's like rye bread with butter. Man, maybe I could almost be convinced maybe a little what is that stuff called? It's not molasses, maybe Cairo syrup or something like that. The dark Cairo. It's really good. It's unlike anything I've had, so it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. So anyway, moving on. Let's go into a little history of what the Three Chamber still is. I got this from, it was a website called, what was it? Lord, I forgot it. stillinthegrain.com. So the history, the origins, late 1800s, early 1900s. The Three Chamber still was invented during the Industrial Revolution to combine the characteristics of a pot still with the efficiency of a column still that rains back. primarily used for rye whiskey. Um, yeah, pause. That's when you know that the mic is working well, because I did another recording real fast, just to kind of like a test, and it's supposedly not picking it up. So if you're picking up any of the rain, I'm sorry. This is the life that we live in. So it was the late 1800s, early 1900s. They were efficiency of a column still with the characteristics of a pot still, right? It was primarily used for rye whiskeys in the American Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, especially in Pennsylvania and Maryland. It was favored by Monongahela style rye producers who wanted a full body, full flavored, with more characteristics than a column still provides. The decline, it fell out of use post prohibition due to high maintenance and energy cost. Industrial distillers opting for more efficient and continuous column stills, changing taste towards lighter whiskey. By the 1970s, the three-chamber still was basically extinct. Yeah, it was basically extinct. Nothing there. Leopold Brothers, a distillery in Colorado, brought it back in the 2010s with a custom-built three-chamber still, the first one to be built in over 100 years. Their three-chamber rye is now one of the few examples of this style on the market. It is heavily research-based, reviving old distillation texts and methods. So, let me... I wrote... Yeah, I like to write things. I'm sorry. All right, today I'm not just sipping any whiskey. I'm sipping history. This is Leopold Brothers three-chamber rye, distilled on a resurrected 19th century machine that nearly vanished from the whiskey world. This isn't just craft. It's a time machine in a glass. Got him. Oh, Lord. All right, let's talk about the science. The science. Let's get nerdy. You ready? You want to get nerdy? Okay. Before we talk about the science of a three-chamber still, let me refresh you. I did a couple of episodes on pot still versus column still, right? Go back and listen to those, where I literally broke down the difference between a pot distillation and a column distillation and a continuous still distillation, all of the things, right? So go back and listen to those episodes. Let me know what you think. So, pot distillation, you have a beer, a mash, a wort, whatever you want to call it, that you have fermented. It is what they call a distiller's beer. So you will take that either with all of the grain, because some people ferment on the grain, some people don't. I don't care about that part. I'm talking about the distillation part, right? So you take that and then you siphon it or pour it, or have hoses, pour it into a big vessel. We're talking pot still, right? So 500 gallon, 1,000 gallon, 1,500 gallon pot. And it's basically a big bowl. And you fill it up. And it has what they call a onion on top, and then a line arm. And that's it. So you basically, a lot of people use steam, deer hammers, direct fire. Some people use electric elements like at Andalusia. You obviously, if you're using electric elements, and most of the time direct fire, you don't want to distill on the grain, because if you distill on the grain, it could scorch, or it will scorch. I know a lot of the stills have a paddle, electric paddle in them that keeps the mash moving where it can't settle to the bottom. But I digress. I know in Andalusias they put just the liquid in. Similar to the way they do it in Scotland. So you take that, you distill it once, right? And that's your low wines. And then you take it, put it back in there with more, you do that a couple of times, and then you fill the pot back up, or you have a secondary still that you would take all of those low wines, put them back in there, and then redistill them the second time, then doing all your cuts and getting it and putting it in the barrel. Okay. That's pot distillation. It's very flavorful because it's literally just separating the alcohol from the liquid below. right? The alcohol from the water and all that. It carries over a lot of flavor and a lot of congeners and a lot of esters and a lot of the things that you want in good whiskey. But not all the time, right? Sometimes you want a clean, crisp, nice whiskey, right? Because most Kentucky bourbons are column distilled or a hybrid / column distilled. So just understand that. And they're still pretty freaking flavorful. So, but like people like Deer Hammer and some of the other ones that have been on the podcast that are using pot distillation, it really shows in the flavor profile for sure. So now we move over to column distillation. Column distillation is similar, only not the same. Sometimes they, like if you're doing a hybrid, it could be a pot still, but on the column where it comes up. So, man, I guess we're getting this nerdy. Let's do it. So water vaporizes at 212 degrees, right? Fahrenheit. Obviously, I'm in America. I'm using Fahrenheit or 100 Celsius if you want to go there. But ethanol does it at 172, 173. Some people say whatever. It will start vaporizing at that temperature. So what you want to do is you want to vaporize it just enough to where it goes up and the water stays behind, right? So you don't want to, you want to boil it, but it won't, if it has alcohol in it, it will never get up to 212 degrees. That makes sense? Because it has other, like if you're just boiling water, it will eventually get to 212 and you'll have distilled water coming out, right? But the other way, if it has alcohol, even 1% alcohol, it will not reach its water boiling point. Now, in some parts of America, in the world, I guess, water will distill at lower temperatures because of elevation, because of temperatures in the ambient temperatures, humidity, barometric pressure, all those things. So like 212 is just the, in a lab type thing. I don't know why I'm getting that nerdy. Stop. Okay, so 170, let's say 173, just to split hairs. Ethanol starts coming over. So what you want to do is you want to capture that. So is all you do on a pot still, you just run it through what they call a condenser. And then the condenser puts cold water either in a jacket or a shell and tube or whatever, runs cold water, not in it, but around it to cool it off. And you want to cool it off as fast as possible. Some people say slow as possible. Just depends. And you want to use, some people say as cold a water as you can, and some people say not. So it just depends upon who. And that's the cool things about distillation. Some people use water that is like 33 degrees, right? To start their condensers. Some people use water that is just groundwater temp, so 60 degrees or some 70 degrees, something like that. So it just kind of depends upon who's doing what. I know that a lot of brandy producers, they like the water to be extremely cold because I think it does filter off some of those congeners that they don't want, right? This is just, me talking. Okay. So then in a column still, there is no, now I'm not talking continuous still, right? It's not a continuous still. We'll talk about that as well, since we're talking still types, right? A column still is basically you put a pot, you have a pot of low wines. Let's say you've already distilled it once. A lot of people will have a pot still and then a column still on the same floor. So you distill it once, get the wash out, make the low wines, and then put them in your column still. And then when you have the column still, you're loading it up, and it has these plates. And I've talked about this multiple times, so this is just rehashing it. And then these plates, and depending upon how many plates, Tito's vodka has like 18 plates or 20 plates, right? And so when it comes out on that top plate, it is almost, without chemically doing it, you can't get to 100% ethanol. So it's like 95, something 96. Anyway, whatever, 95% alcohol. So what's left behind is the water, and what is left in the alcohol not being is water vapor as well. So you have 95% alcohol, 5% water. So they just take that off and then they'll proof it down themselves and stuff like that. So with a column still, it's basically the same thing. So what you want to do is you want to load those plates up once it starts distilling, and that's where you have to tweak it and adjust it to where you don't have it distilling so fast that it does what they call flood the plates. Because if you flood those plates, you're not getting a clean distillation, because each one of those plates is a mini, and this is quote, air quotes, obviously, is a mini distillation. So if you have 7 plates, it's not technically, but it is kind of, but it's not type. It's basically, it's cleaning it up. And all of the heavier congeners and all of the esters and stuff like that fall down to the lower plates where they get redistilled, but they keep falling down, and then eventually they fall back into your pot. Does that make sense? So in the pot is all of the yeast, the things that the yeast made, because yeast makes all of these acids and aldehydes and all of these things, right? And some of them are inherent in the grain, some of the flavoring grains that we use and stuff like that. Like if you're using a blue corn or red corn or whatever, they have flavors in them. They're not just baseline material, right? You're not just using, you're not just using a distiller's malt and a cracked corn or whatever. You know what I mean? It's actual corn with the flavoring. So you're going to have more congeners, more esters, more flavor that is getting lost as it comes up. And then what they'll do is they'll find a happy medium of where they want to take it off. Most of the time it's 180 or a little bit lower, 175 or something like that. Proof, that is. And under 80%, so 160. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. For it to be whiskey, it has to be under 80 proof. So they'll do it at like 75, percent alcohol, and then they'll take it off, and then they'll water it down again, and then put it in barrel under 125, right? So when you do a continuous still, you're basically, and this is similar, this is moving on to the 3-chamber. When it's a continuous still, it is one big tube, 20, 30, 40, 70 feet tall, doesn't matter. And the liquid with the grain, with everything, some of them do, some of them don't. I know Still Austin distills and ferments on the grain. It goes through pipes, and then it'll go up about, 7 or 8 plates high. And then it will inject the mash into the still. And then from the bottom, it's being heated with steam. Well, that steam interacts with the liquid, and it vaporizes it instantly. As it's falling down through the plates, it's vaporizing it. So all of the material, like the corn and the slurry of food, falls down to the bottom, because obviously it's not going to distill corn, the actual kernel, you know what I mean? But all of the liquid around it will get distilled. So water is going down. The vapor from the ethanol is going up. And then they have separate valves that they're like, okay, we want to pull it off at 160. We want to pull it off at 145, whatever. I don't know how they do it. It doesn't matter. It's not my business, right? And so then they'll pull it off, and each one of those has its own pipe that goes to a vat that holds it. The good thing about a continuous still is, as long as you have mash ready to pump in there, you can distill 24/7, and you can make the whiskey exactly 140 proof or 160 proof all day if you wanted to. Now, I didn't ask Emilio when I went to Still Austin. I did not ask him what they, and I'm sure it differs for each batch or brand or whatever they're doing, where they pulled it off at. And I think he said they pulled it off at 2 different areas. One is a lower proof, like 108, and one is a higher proof at like 125 or something like that. And then those 2 get blended together. And so you're literally just taking the hearts. If I'm hearing it correctly, you're literally just taking the good parts of the whiskey. Does that make sense? So like a continuous still is super efficient, because you don't have to worry with all of the, I got to make the cuts. And with a pot still, you literally have to be like, I'm in the heads. Got to let it go, and you got to smell and taste, and we're getting to the hearts, and then you got to move either a bucket or move the hose over to collect your hearts. You know what I mean? And then you're like, we're getting to the tails. I need to move it even more, because you do want to keep some of that for backs. Anyway, we're not talking about that type of distillation. But with continuous, you put it in there, it distills it where you want it, you take it off, you put it in a vat, you're good to go. Then you can proof it down if you need to and put it in a barrel. Or petit O it, and the water is already in the barrel and you're just adding whiskey to it, and it's already barrel flavored water, which is a thing that Nancy Fraley anyway, I'm having another sip. Okay, it's been sitting for about 15 minutes since I've been blabbering my mouth. It's really opening up. So I would suggest, if you win a sample, open it, pour some in, let it sit for like 10 minutes before you go in. I mean, like I said, this one's been sitting in this bottle for maybe 2 years. I bought it when I was going through the whole cancer thing. I was sitting at the house and I saw that it came up for sale, and I was like, I'm buying it. I ain't got no money, but I'm buying it. The things you do when you're sitting at home, wishing you were doing anything other than what you had to do. So yeah, that kind of catches you up on those types of stills. And those are basic stills. And obviously go back and listen to the episodes that I did about it, because I went into a lot more detail. Good Lord, I think I did 2 or 3 episodes on it. Okay, so here's the science behind the three chamber. I promise this is the first drink I've had. The 3-chamber still. The structure. It's a vertical still with 3 chambers stacked on top of each other. So think about, like, I know you guys, everybody does this in their attic, in their basement. We have a Connex in our backyard because my father-in-law, long story, my father-in-law ended up moving into our barn in the back. It was the donkey shed. They closed it in and turned it into a house. So they actually live on our property. So we didn't have like a storage place outside. And so when they did that, they said, hey, I know this, you were using this for storage, because I had shelves and, all kinds of stuff in it. We're going to get a Connex, put it out here. You can put all your Christmas stuff and stuff like that, because we don't have an attic in our house or a basement. So there's like 1-2 closets in the whole house. So anyway, so what I do is I get those big Tupperware or whatever, the plastic totes, and I stack them on top of each other, in the Connex, like 3 high. It's basically the same thing. I'm just trying to help you visualize what it looks like. Each chamber contains mash, not just low wines or wash like in a pot still. So it actually has the mash in it. So they're pumping the grain and everything in it. Live Stevens injected from the bottom of the chamber. Okay, so similar to a continuous still, and it rises through all 3 chambers, extracting alcohol and flavors as it goes. Unlike a column still, this still uses batch-fed mash like a pot still. So you're only putting so much in there at a time. The mash is not stripped completely. Instead, it retains its oil and heavier congeners. The steam percolates through the mash layers, pulling more fusel oils and esters and heavier flavor compounds into the distillate. So it produces a very oily, rich, and complex distillate. Higher in flavor congeners, some call it chewy, as I said earlier. It's much slower and less effective than the modern stills, but that's the whole point, right? So, okay. So, I'm just looking over my notes. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to give y'all the best content that I can here. So basically, I saw. We're going to get into that. This is the deeper history, because I always want, as we just did the lost history of Tennessee whiskey. We're not going there, I promise. When we did that, you realize how much the history has changed and how much it's different and why it's different, and you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So anyway, when was it invented? The 3-chamber still, also known as the beer still or the chamber still, was developed in the mid to late 1800s, during a time when American distillers were innovating beyond traditional pot stills. Patents and various chamber distillate designs began appearing around 1870 to 1885. While there is no single widely credited inventor, The still evolved as a hybrid system between pot and column. The design was refined by distillers and engineers in the American Northwest, particularly in Maryland and Pennsylvania, for where rye whiskey was king. A key reference was Joseph Fleischmann had a patent considered one of the earliest blueprints on a multi-chamber steam-driven still. And I think, yes, that is Fleischmann's bread yeast, if I'm not mistaken. It is seen to a way to speed up pot distillation without fully going into column distillation, which means the distillers felt that it stripped away too much character, which it can. But a lot of these guys, especially the Kentucky guys, they know what the heck they're doing, and they're doing it well. It was popular with Monongahela, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, and for big, oily, rich rye whiskeys. It was used in mid-sized regions of distillers in the 19th century for American rye. The pre-Prohibition golden age of rye, these distillers wanted more flavor. Like coffee stills gave way to they wanted bold, spicy, and chewy whiskey. After Prohibition, the still fell out of favor because it was energy intense. You had to steam it, heat it for hours. The industry shifted to more efficient and uniformity led by column stills. Consumer tastes leaned towards lighter spirits, thanks in part to Scotch, vodka, and Canadian whiskey's influence. By the 1970s, no known distilleries were still using it. And we're talking in the beginning, they were all wanting to try something a little bit different, right? And so I'd like to go a little deeper. I really want to do an episode just on Pennsylvania whiskey. So just look forward to that, hopefully in the near future. But by the 1970s, there was no distilleries using a 3-chamber until 2010. So you're talking a long time, man. So here, this is called Modern Resurrection, Leopold Brothers. Todd Leopold's mission. Todd Leopold spent years studying pre-Prohibition distilling practices through old technical manuals and distillers' journal. He partnered with Vendome Copper and Brass Works, they're a legendary Louisville still maker, to build a fully functional 3-chamber still. The first still built in over 100 years. It was finished around 2015. It took years of testing before their first release was in 2021. That's pretty freaking awesome. So how is this a 6-year-old whiskey if it was just released in 2021? I don't know. So the 3-chamber rye is, like I said, it's 80% of bruisy rye, 20% malted barley. The whiskey is distilled from fermented mash and not wash, and barreled at 100 proof, nod to pre-industrial norms. It is non-chill filtered and aged in full-size barrel. No small cask gimmicks. They were using floor malted barley that was made on site. That's super cool. 2 guests from now, we're going to talk a lot about floor malting. So get ready for that. Here's some cool facts. Did you know that the still mimics a percolating coffee pot? So you know those old camp percolator coffee pots, right? Where you have a basket of coffee grounds, and then there's a tube that goes up, and that water, it boils, goes up and percolates up top, and then drips back down onto the coffee. That makes sense? Same thing, only it's doing it 3 times. So at the bottom chamber almost has no alcohol in it. It is literally just there for flavor. That is it. And that's why it's so inefficient, right? It produces so much oil, it separates in the barrel. Early tests found visible separation of the whiskey during aging. Todd had to blend it carefully so that the oil did not pull at the top of the bottle. Crazy. Just think of the oil content that you're getting in a whiskey. If it comes through the distillation and is so oily, it's sitting on top of the glass, inside the bottle. It's freaking crazy. Old distillers considered it the wizard still because of how nuanced the controls of the distiller had to be. Each chamber could be isolated or drained, making it a part pot, part machine. So you could drain each section and refill it, and then redistill it, and then refill it and redistill it, and then go 3, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3, whatever, and just keep filling and keep. Now, obviously, it's hot, it's labor intensive, and you got to drain it out. You got to do all the things. You're losing steam, and you're doing all of it. Todd Leopold used Scientific American, the distiller, and 19th century U.S. Treasury reports to recreate the still exactly how it should have been. It is a piece of sensory history, and it lets the modern drinker taste the whiskey like it would have been tasted in 1880. A direct line to what people drank in the saloons of the Wild West and at the East Coast clubs. Wow. I'm done. No, we're not done yet. So, 3-chamber. Wildly inefficient? Yes. Super cool? Absolutely, dude. And I will have on the thumbnail, I'm going to try. I found a picture of a 3-chamber still, not Leopold's. I will have Leopold's because I'm going to do a full write-up, as you guys well know. I will find Leopold's still set up, and I will put it in the description down below. If you're on Patreon, you will actually see the pictures. And I might, if I think about it, I might put them at the very end of the video of this, but nobody's going to see it. So it's only for Patreon. Sorry. Yeah, I'll try to maybe get, I don't know how to do that. Doesn't matter. Maybe I'll put it on my Instagram when I release the episode or something like that. I'll try and find Leopold's 3-chamber and put it on there. Anyway, this is not a review of the 3-chamber rye at all. I'm going to do a full video on it and stuff like that. So here's how you can win a sample. Now, the ones that are on the Patreon and they're watching right now, you don't have to do anything. I will pick your name at random. We will do a duck race or something like that, and you will win a 2-ounce sample. And if I'm sending you one sample, you're going to get more than one. So just understand that. But just know that this is a very special rye whiskey, and not a whole lot of people are going to ever be able to try it. So just understand that. It is unique. It is different. It is not for everybody. I will say that. It is not for everybody. But I will say it is definitely rye. It is definitely oily. It is so viscous. It's like dinner, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big drink of water as I spill it on myself like I normally do. That's high quality H2O. All right, now I'm going to have one more sip of this, and then I'm going to say my final thoughts, okay? Yeah, you need to let it sit. You need to let it sit for 10, 20 minutes. It really opened up. It's really nice. Now it has some floral notes to it. These headphones make my ears itch. You ever do that? They get kind of like a little sweaty. They're really expensive headphones. They make my ears itch sometimes. Anyway, super oily. I mean, it is coating my mouth. It is almost like, and I know this is going to sound gross, it is almost like, have you ever put, and I know you have, everybody's done this, unless you don't like it, but whatever. If you don't like it, you're weird. You get toast, right? You make a piece of toast and you put butter on it, but you put a little too much butter on one side and it hasn't fully melted yet, and you take a bite and that butter just like coats your mouth, and you're like, that's good, but that's it's like chewy, right? It's the same, only rye. Only think of rye whiskey coating like your tongue, your palate, the top, the roof of your mouth, the sides. It's pooling in the sides of my tongue. It is making me salivate so much, which is, I mean, I'm guessing, which is signs of a good whiskey. I would rate this whiskey, if I had to rate it right now, a 9 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't say a 10 out of 10 is because that rye note, it's unlike any other rye note that I've had. It's strong. It's strong. Not bad, but I don't know if I was actually ready for it. Does that make sense? I don't know if I was actually ready for the intensity of flavor that was going to come over in the glass. And that's all to do. I think, I mean, I don't have, and maybe I need to invest in this. I don't have a Leopold Brothers rye whiskey that's not 3-chamber. So I'm going to look for one and we'll go from there. I know I won't have it if I'm able to purchase one. I know I won't have it by the time this episode gets out, but maybe I can do it the next week, or if they even have any. I don't know. I need to look at their website and see what all they have. I do have a Leopold Brothers Bottled and Bond bourbon that I opened. It's actually really good. It's not 3-chambered stilled. It's just I think it's a column and pot, or it might be fully pot stilled. I don't remember. It's really good. I enjoy it a lot. It has the same Abruzzi rye in it, so I could maybe side by side that if I had to, but it's not going to be the same because it's not a rye whiskey, right? Anyway, at that point, I'm rambling about it. Okay, so here's how you can win, how a listener of this podcast can win. Ready? All right. First of all, you need to, if you haven't given a 5-star review already, I need you to do that. Specifically on Apple, if you can, or Spotify. You can do it on Spotify too. It doesn't matter, but Apple gets more views. And then make sure you share this episode with a friend. Share it with somebody. And then also comment on the episodes if you can. If you're listening, I know you can do it on Spotify, or comment when I release it. I always put Instagram and, put it on everything. And if you comment, just say, hashtag 3-chamber, right? And, I will give it 2 weeks because obviously it's going to go to, no, it won't. I'm sorry. I'm going to give it 1 week from the time it was. I'm so used to recording and putting it on YouTube as well, but my personal podcasts do not go out on YouTube because nobody wants to see me talking in the shed. Besides the Patreon, they seem to love it. I don't know why, but they do, and it's a perk that they get. So yeah, just make sure you comment hashtag 3-chamber. And I will wait a week, and then we will pick a winner, and then I will hand deliver a 2-ounce sample of said 3-chamber rye. And I would love to get your thoughts on it and your notes on it, if you enjoy it or not. So, and it'll go the same for the Patreon. I will I have all your names already. I will put them into a kitty. We will do a duck race, and whoever wins will win a sample. And I know that most of you would enjoy it. So yeah. Okay. What else? What else is going on in the world? Pause for water, not pause for effect, right? We just had 4th of July, right? It was kind of shadowed by some bad news, obviously, that I talked about earlier. We didn't do anything. I cooked a massive steak, tomahawk ribeye. I'm a dummy. I don't know why I do stuff like that. But I cooked it on my Weber kettle. Now this is a little, grilling news, grilling segment, I guess you want to call it that. I cooked it on my Weber kettle with charcoal, not Kingsford Square charcoal, with lump charcoal. And I tell you what, I put it on there before anybody else's, because it was like 2 1/4 inches thick. It was a huge steak. And so I put it on there, but put it way far away from the fire, right? Way far away. And close the lid. And I put, when I had just my steak on there, I put a couple of smaller pieces of oak on there, and was able to get some smoke on it, which I thought, yes, please. I've done a tomahawk on my offset smoker, right? And then what I did was I cooked it to 120, 125 internal on the offset, got a good smoke ring on it. I heavily dusted it with salt and pepper. And then what I did was on the top of my firebox, it has like a griddle where you can cook stuff on the actual firebox. And so I got some oil and put some oil on the firebox and kind of seared it on there. It was really nice. It was really good. But this time I just low and slowed it for probably 20 minutes before I put the other steaks on. And then right at the end, I stuck it and put it directly where over the coals, not on the coals, but, over where the coals were, and let it fire up and get some of that Maillard reaction. It was really nice. It was really good. I was only able to eat probably a third of it. And here's why. Because my wife made broccoli. She made a salad. She made a baked potato. And I had the steak and banana pudding. Now, you guys well know that I'm not a sweets person. I like to drink my whiskey sweet. Like they say, neat. A dessert for me is whiskey, right? So I don't care about candies and cookies. I'll get into that in a second. I don't care about candies and cookies and ice cream and all the things. I don't care about those, right? I don't even like sodas anymore. I will tell you this. The other day, my son, he's been working with me for the summer, right? The other day, my son, I got him a Dr. Pepper because he likes to drink a Dr. Pepper. I let him have one Dr. Pepper. He's fine. And I said, hey, bud, let me have a drink of that. I hadn't had a Dr. Pepper in a minute. It was so sickeningly, it was a regular, not a diet. It was so sickeningly sweet. I was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? I literally had to drink like 5 gallons of water just to get that out of my, it tasted fine, but like it was so sweet. Anyway, so my dessert is whiskey, right? Now I don't drink whiskey all the time. I drink whiskey on the weekends, when I'm having a good time, you know what I mean? Like when I'm hanging out with people. But I will tell you a little inside baseball. So there is a YouTuber out there, and if you know him, named Ryan Trahan. I know he's a young kid doing stupid stuff, but he is doing a thing with his wife. This is content that I can watch with my children and not have to worry about it, right? They are doing 50 states in 50 days. And they're raising money for kids with cancer. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And so as you well know, I'm all about that. I've donated multiple times. Not the amounts that some of these people are donating. Good Lord, $150,000, $100,000, whatever. Yeah, I'm not donating that much. I can't. There's no way. But one of the things that Ryan has on his show is he has this candy called Joyride, and it has no junk ingredients, supposedly, right? No high fructose corn syrup, all of the things, no red 40, no dyes, no anything. Everything's supposedly natural in it. And so on the show, when they're going to all these different states, they go and do a Joyride run. They go to different places like CVS or Target or whatever and pick up some candy. And so it's been kind of a thing. We went to the beach a couple of weeks ago, right? And we picked some up while we were there so that we could watch it while we were there. It was it's a good bonding experience. But I will tell you this, that candy's pretty freaking good. Just saying, the cherry berry ropes, pretty freaking good. Anyway, but I'm not doing it anymore. I slipped up a couple times. Okay, not gonna lie. Doc's gonna probably be mad at me because I eating candy and shit, but it'll be all right. But anyway, it's really wholesome content. It's stuff that my kids like. It's stuff that I like. It's fun. It's funny. It's wholesome. Like them two as a couple is super cute. They're like 26, 27, young kids living life, doing their best. You know what I mean? And like, it's raising money for a good cause. Like, I'm all about it. I'm going to say this, and you can hate me if you want. Okay, and that's fine. Earlier in the show, I was talking about the flood victims and stuff like that. If you want to help out, donate, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry. Do not donate to the Red Cross. Do not. Do not donate to FEMA. Do not donate to any of these government organizations. And don't say that I'm a conspiracy theorist. Don't say any of the things. They are well known and tracked that they are money laundering. All of those companies are money laundering, right? They're not doing what they say they're doing. And we see that with USA Aid, with all of these things. They are not doing what they said they were doing, right? And I am not political. I don't care, right? But I don't want you to waste your money saying that you're giving to this good cause when it's not going to the people. It's going to the CEO so he can buy another jet, right? I'm just saying that. So if you want to help out locally, find the Kerrville Food Bank or the Mom Center or something like that. There's 3 or 4 different towns in Central Texas that have been affected, and a lot more, I'm sure. But the ones I know are Kerrville, Texas, Hunt, Texas, Ingram, Texas, Mountain Home. It even goes down to Comfort, Texas. And then I know that over on the other side, Burnett and Marble Falls, Texas, have been affected as well. These places have really high. One of them has a dam. High water has affected a lot of these houses. Not as much as over in Hunt and all of those places, but if you want, there's places you can find online. And if I find any, I will put them in the description down below. So if you want to support that way. Don't support with these big conglomerate things. Do your research is all I'm trying to say. I don't want you to waste your money because you feel like it's going to a good cause and it's really not. And I hate to say that. I hate to say it like that. I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, like, we all work really hard for the money that we have. I don't want you to be openly giving to someone. And I thank you so much if you do give. Thank you. But I don't want you to openly give of your heart and of your love and then have it go to something that's not for what you wanted it to go to. Does that make sense? We are actually going next weekend and doing food bank stuff and helping with serving hot meals to all the people affected by it. And I'm not asking for, praise or anything like that. That's what you do as humans. You help other people. I'm sorry. That's what you do as humans. When you're affected, you jump in, right? You jump in and help. That's just how you do it. Like, I am not the type of person who can be like a first responder. I'm too emotional. I'm too, I don't know. I just can't do that. I can't see the things that they can see. There are some people that's their gift. The Lord gave them that gift is to be the first responder, the first one on site to do cleanup, if you know what I mean. I can't do that. So we're going to go in and try and serve some hot meals to the people that are helping, right? And at least do our part, right? And obviously give of our money and stuff like that for people in need, because that's being a steward, right? That's what we're called to do, help our brothers and sisters out there. So I say all that to say, man, it went down, got good. Now I'm bringing it back down. Let's do it. All right. We're at it. I made it to an hour. I wasn't trying to get to an hour. I don't care about the hour marker or whatever. I don't care about that. What I care about is presenting good content. And this has been on my mind for a couple of days. It's the 6th. I'm recording this on the 6th. So this just happened 2 days ago. So it's really, really fresh to me, and it hurts my heart. And there's a lot of people that I know personally, not through other people that have been affected by this. And so it's really, and then a lot of people that I know very, very personally have already gone to help of their time, and God bless them. God bless them. We prayed very fervently, and I know that's not everybody's deal, and I get it. But we prayed very fervently, and we will continue to pray very fervently for this. Um, and I just pray God's hand on the people working and helping and the survivors and the surviving families and things like that. I just pray the Lord's blessing over them, because it's going to be a hard road. It's going to be a hard road for a lot of people. So I say all that to say this. Oh, Lord. I'm going to need a second. Hold on. All right. It's normally at this part of the show where I start talking about whiskey is happening around you. Go out there and find it, and go out there and get you some, and go out there and do the thing. But I'm not going to do that. And there's a bunch of reasons why. I'm not going to get into those reasons right now. They will start appearing and showcasing themselves in the near future. I hope that what I've said throughout the show has given you a little bit of light on 3-chamber stills, has made you think about them, has made you understand them. We nerded out a little bit on them, which is super cool. But at the same time, like, we have to be very grounded in this, right? And we have to understand that as much money as this little bottle of whiskey cost, if you can't afford your bills, don't be doing it, right? And we've talked about that multiple times. But I just say all that to say, be good to each other, love each other, have love. If you don't have love in your house and in your heart, find someone to love. Love strongly, love hard, and show love often, even when you don't want to, even when you feel like it's a burden to you. Show that love. We just had the episode with Psych Man about men's mental health, right? That doesn't stop because June is over, right? Now we're going to just talk about mental health. It doesn't have to be men's mental health. We're going to talk about mental health, right? If you're hurting, if you're struggling with addiction, if you're struggling with wanting to harm yourself, if you don't care, if your life is in the crapper, guess what? There's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. And there's a lot of people out there that can help you. So, this is the road that we go down, right? This is the road that we go. And the road is not straight. It's not, unfortunately. If it was easy, there would be no free will, right? If it was just a straight line, 100-meter dash, you get there when you get there, right? But it's not. It's a windy road, and it hurts. And sometimes you turn back and have to start over, or it veers off this weird way, and you're like, why the heck did I go over here? Have you ever had GPS coordinates and you're going one way, and then all of a sudden you end up in somebody's freaking neighborhood, and you're like, I am nowhere near where I need to be? Yeah, I did that in St. Louis, actually. I was following GPS directions, and it took me into a fairly sketchy neighborhood. Yeah. I say all that to say, if you're hurting, if you're struggling, reach out to somebody. I will have my email address down below like I always do. If you can't talk to anybody, I'm here. I'm not a number or anything like that. Reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, right? We'll find some help for you. And that's going to be my sign off for a while, from here on out, maybe. Because there's people that are hurting, and whiskey doesn't make it better, right? Wow. That just happened, didn't it? That just happened. Okay, so that is the Lord telling me to get off. It's not what's in the glass. It's not what's in the glass. The glass, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love talking about 3-chamber stills with you guys. But if I can help anybody, I'm going to do it. Whether drink water, please drink water. And until next time, keep your spirits up. Peace out.